a quick update as to what's been going on around here. I've just recently brought down or taken down my previous video to this one out of respect of the deceased family. It was an investigation at the cemetery. May actually put it back up again without that content in it. We'll have to see how far that goes because it's a fair whack of work involved in order to do that, so I may or may not. It was good investigation, but we don't want to cause any more grief for the deceased family. Okay, now I'm hoping this camera, the vlogging camera that I'm using at the moment, it's a Canon. I'm hoping it's going to be okay because my good camera has decided to muck up. So I apologise if the quality is not as good as I would hope to be, but this will do for now. So I'll just put this down here. Okay, now about 2 weeks ago I experienced some sleep paralysis, and I haven't had that experience for around about 23 years. It was really, really scary. I was sleeping. It was about 2:30 in the morning. I don't really know whether I had my eyes open or not. I'd only just gone to sleep, so I was sort of in that stage where you're more prone for sleep paralysis to happen, I guess. And when I was lying on my left-hand side, I became completely paralyzed. And with that, I could see. Now, whether I was actually seeing it or whether I was dreaming it, I really don't know. And it's really weird. I don't know how to explain it. What I was seeing was like a blob, okay? And this blob was in the shape of a human figure. It wasn't a complete human figure. It was very rounded, transparent. So you could see, if you think about a bubble, you sort of can see through it. And it was very liquidy forming. I can't accept that it was a blob. That's the only way I can explain it. And it was transparent, but you knew you could see the formation of it. And it came down and it lied alongside me. And I could feel it. I could feel the imprint. I could feel it alongside me, and paralyzed. I couldn't do anything about it. And I waited and I waited, and eventually it disappeared. It left, and I was able to move again. And with that, I sort of lied back on my back, and I was so scared I didn't know what to do, but I was able to move again. So I thought, okay, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. So I'm going to try and get back to sleep. So I'm lying there, and all of a sudden, I became paralyzed again. And I saw this, like, again, I don't know whether I was actually with my eyes open or whether it was something I was seeing. I don't know. It was weird. And there was another blob, but this one didn't take form. It was sort of like just a blob. And it started to come closer. And because I couldn't move, I was trying to say the words, "You have to leave. You were not invited." And so I'm saying, but I was trying to get the words out because I was paralyzed. I couldn't say it. I couldn't move. But it did. It left and it disappeared, and I was able to move again. And at that point, I got up and I switched on all the lights in the house, the light in my room, and I managed to go back to sleep again. But absolutely terrified, absolutely terrified. Now, the last time I had something similar happen was about 23 years ago, and it was completely different as to how I experienced it. It was still sleep paralysis, but again, it was around about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning when I went to bed. So, of course, you're really tired. And while I was lying there and I just started to drift off to sleep, I opened my eyes and became paralyzed. And I knew I could see, because I could actually see the window, and there was a street light out the front, and it was sort of shining that light through. So I was seeing that, but I was paralyzed. And what I was hearing was this whirring, like woo, 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 and it was getting faster and faster, woo, 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 woo. But I mean, it felt like an eternity, and it got faster and faster and faster, and it got so loud. I literally was bordering insanity. That's how bad it got. I knew if it went on any longer, I was going to go completely insane. And I don't mean that in a figure of speech. I was literally on the border. The way it was so loud and going so fast, and it wouldn't go away, and I couldn't move, I couldn't scream. And all of a sudden, just on that brink of where I knew I was just going to completely lose my mind, it stopped just in time. That's how it felt. Now, when I went to the doctors to go ask, you know, like, what could that have been? He said, well, explain it. And he said, what do you think? And I said, look, I know this is going to sound really, really silly, and I really don't want to say it, but what it reminded me of was, and this is the only way I can explain it, it was almost like, okay, I'm going to say it, aliens were reading my mind, and it was like they were just going on and on and on and on and on, to the point where, you know, I was just about to lose control of my sanity, and then it stopped. That's the only way I can explain it, and I know how it sounds, but that's how I felt. The only way I can explain it, really. Now, I went for testing for epilepsy to see if I was having a seizure of any kind, but that testing came back negative. There was absolutely no sign of that whatsoever, so we were at a loss as to what happened. Just a glitch in the brain, I guess. I really don't know. But then I had this experience only a couple of weeks back. That terrified me. Now, the funny thing is, we've been having a lot of spooky stuff happening around here. We have spurts of it, really, where we will have talking going on, or saying things, or feeling. I have a thing where I know I have a presence around me at a point where on the scalp, I'll feel like, you know, when you something creeping on the scalp sort of thing. And it's not a chill, it's sort of like tingles on the scalp, and I know at that point I've got some presence near me, next to me, and the only reason I know that was the thing was because I was watching Ian Lawman on Haunting Australia, who is a psychic medium, and he explained that he gets exactly the same thing, and I thought, oh my God, so that's what it is. So I'm also wondering if while I'm out and all of a sudden I'll have an overpowering feeling of panic attack, anxiety, and I'm wondering if that's also some kind of connection there as well. For no reason, I'll just all of a sudden have an overwhelming anxiety, panic attack type experience. And I've put that down to maybe the same thing as well, having experienced some kind of presence around me, because I've also heard that is also a situation as well. So now I've also brought some things into the house. I'm a collector of all sorts of things, and I have found some really wonderful things that I'd like to show you. And I can't remember what they've named him. I think it's Bob. And I have this little mannequin here. What do you call it? Marionette. Little marionette. I fell in love with him at the op shop, so I had to grab him. I've picked up a whole lot of porcelain dolls now. I don't know if you can see this one. I got my Chucky. I've been wanting a Chucky for a really long time. And of course the crying boy painting. We were really lucky at the local op shop that they had one there. We couldn't believe our eyes at the time. And this young lady is Daisy. So yeah, I've just picked up a couple of things, but it's been since I brought in my old dresser, which you would see in one of my other videos, the haunted dresser is antique. I've got that out of my room quite some time ago. It's in the garage at the moment, waiting for that garage sale that doesn't seem to happen, to get rid of it. But I went and got a new, well, it wasn't a new, I got another dresser from an op shop. You would have thought that I would have learnt my lesson by now. But I've brought one home and it was in really good condition, and it goes with my bed. So I thought, well, you know, I'll get that one. I'm wondering if it was from a deceased estate though. It's not an antique. But ever since I brought that in, I've started experience things around as well. So, but also with Bob up here. So, not sure if that's anything to go by. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you an update as to what's going on. Hope all is well with you, and love you all, and I will catch you soon. Bye.